What is up, guys, and welcome to another edition of Market Marauders. Beat the market one trade at a time. Due to Market Marauders investment channel helps you find best deals in the market. If that's something you're interested in, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Definitely helps the YouTube algorithm promote the videos. All right, so hate to say it, but seems like this is the beginning of a stock market crash. So if we look at today's action, if we look at SPY was down. It was at 339.39. Then after hours, it went to 339.25. And then if we even look at the Dow, it went down as well at 277. It went down to 276.79. A lot of things are going on politically. We still have the election coming up. It's going to be on the 3rd in the U.S. And then, a lot of things otherwise are going on. But I'm going to break down 3 catalysts that I believe are affecting the market and why I think this may be the beginning of another crash. Now, I don't think the crash is going to be as big as the one that was in March, but these are some pretty big catalysts to consider, especially when, looking at your account or if you're new to investing. Speaking of being new to investing, if you'd like to sign up for Webull, which is this platform with all these nice charts on it, and get 2 free stocks when you sign up, I have a link down below in the description where you can sign up and get 2 free stocks when you deposit $100 or more. So let's jump into the first catalyst, and one of the major reasons that I think that a stock crash is on the horizon. So it has been a long time since we had that first round of stimulus checks, and they're still talking about debates of the stimulus check. No one can come to an agreement. It's been priced out a super long time. So, I think this is one of the catalysts to definitely consider. I like this article because it talked about the recap of when we all started this whole ordeal. So on May 15th, the House passed the HEROES Act. In May, the House of Representatives passed a bill called the HEROES Act that called for more than $3 trillion in spending. Legislation included an additional 1,200 stimulus check. This time, dependent checks would be raised to 1,200 for a maximum of 6,000 per family. Legislation also sought to expand eligibility for dependents over 17 and for people who do not hold U.S. citizens or resident alien status. Then, in July 9th, capping eligibility at $40,000 in income, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said he would consider capping eligibility for a second stimulus check at $40K in income. In response, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin told CNBC, "We do support another round of economic impact payments. The level and criteria we'll be discussing with the Senate." So this is kind of what began the whole thing in July. They were in talks of another stimulus to come. Then the 27th, the Senate introduced a bill with $1,200 checks. Mitch McConnell introduced a new package proposal called the HEALS Act that includes a second round of stimulus payments. The proposal calls for payments similar to the first round, with $1,200 per individual or $2,400 per married couple, plus $500 per dependent. This time, however, dependents over 17 would be eligible for the money. So, in an interview, President Donald Trump said that he wants the second stimulus payment to be more than $1,200. Then we go to July 30th. GOP senator proposes a $1,000 stimulus check. So a Republican senator proposed or introduced a bill that calls for a $1,000 stimulus check for both adults and children. Under the proposal, a family of 4 could receive $4,000. This time, all adult dependents will be eligible. Leaders behind the bill were Senator Bill Cassidy, Steve Daines, and Mitt Romney, and Marco Rubio. So then, that didn't happen. So then we go all the way to August. So Congress breaks without passing the stimulus. So they still did not come to a conclusion on this stimulus. Meanwhile, people are still waiting on money. Employment numbers kind of have leveled off at this point. The market is starting to rebound in August, so it's not as bad economically, but employment numbers are still very high. Approval of the stimulus bill looks to be weeks away as Carl leads the decamp to their home districts. While Capitol Hill leaders couldn't reach an agreement on other issues, one thing they seemed to agree on was that those $1,200 checks. But the impasse would dash the Treasury Department's hopes of getting more one-time payments to Americans in August. So then Trump tweeted out, Democrats are holding this up. So then we go all the way to September. So this is a month after they break. Senate Republicans failed to move small aid bill. Republican bill including about $500 billion in new aid fails to get necessary votes to pass the Senate. The proposal included enhanced unemployment benefits and more aid to small businesses. Notably, another round of stimulus checks was not in this bill. So then we get a week later to the 16th. Trump and Democrats are holding up the stimulus payments. So the president tweeted heartless. Don't want to give stimulus payments to the people who desperately need the money. So still no conclusion. Then we get to the 30th. It says both parties want the $1,200 checks. So both parties' second $1,200 stimulus check that are similar to the first payment will be next stimulus package. Mnuchin said in an interview, though both parties are in favor of spending more direct payments, other issues continue to drag on negotiations. Then we go into October. So we're started all the way from May, and now we're all the way into October. House Democrats passed updated stimulus bill. House Democrats revised and passed the updated HEROES Act, bringing the total cost down to about $1 trillion in the bid to appeal to Republicans. The proposal includes $1,200 stimulus checks, but with more generous terms than the first set. Dependents of all ages will be eligible for $500 payments. Individuals with taxpayer identification numbers also would qualify for checks and change for the first payments, which required valid Social Security number. So then the week after that says Trump proposes standalone legislation to send $1,200 checks. So a negotiation failed to move forward. Trump proposes standalone legislations on areas lawmakers agree on. That would include a bill of $200 checks, while Capitol Hill leaders generally agree on the idea of more one-time payments. They have to find a compromise on other terms, such as whether to expand eligibility beyond U.S. citizens and resident aliens. So Trump's proposal marks a reversal of the president's call to discontinue stimulus negotiations until after elections. The idea of standalone legislation is rejected by Democrats. So the Democrats rejected this last, ditch effort to try to get this stimulus out. So then October 12th, negotiations and impasse. The package would include stimulus checks of $1,200 per adult, $1,000 per child, and also include $400 per week, and enhanced federal unemployment insurance through the third week of January. House Speaker Pelosi said negotiations remain in pass until the White House agrees to address certain issues. So now we get to the 21st. There's a $500 billion GOP Senate bill, and it fails. So the Senate Republicans put forward a $500 billion to provide aid to Americans in certain areas, including $300 enhanced weekly federal unemployment benefits, more pay check protection program loans for small businesses, and liability protections for businesses. But it failed. Now we go to the 26th. White House backs targeted assistance. So still no stimulus. So the fact that they haven't passed the stimulus and there's no PPP and they're still in negotiations and it still hasn't come out, and we go all the way back to when this all began, which was around May 15th time frame. I think this is a huge catalyst for the market crashing. I think a lot of people were waiting. I know the airline industries were waiting. The cruise line industry is waiting. A lot of small businesses are waiting for this money to potentially come out, and it just has not happened. So you got to think during this time period, people still have been without jobs. and not getting the unemployment assistance that they got beforehand. So I think this is a huge catalyst for the market as a whole, starting a steady decline. So second reason or second catalyst why I think is that the number of cases are starting to go up. So the country hit more than 60,000 infections on average a day for weeks in a row. So on Thursday, U.S. cases spiked higher than they had since late July, hitting more than 71,000 in one day. The 7-day daily average is now more than 61,000 cases a day. The new cases have gone up 30% from 2 weeks ago. So what it was a flat curve and then it was down, now it has spiked up tremendously. I think also, with a vaccine being on the horizon, but none actually confirmed and approved by the FDA yet, I think this is still a really big catalyst for the market as a whole because there is no approved vaccine. Now, the FDA did approve remdesivir, which is by Gilead Sciences, and it is the medicine that President Trump took where he recovered from, being sick, but no other drug has been approved yet. Now, other companies like Pfizer are supposed to be giving out, their response or their data in late October, which is basically this week. And then Moderna is supposed to be finished with theirs in around November, I think, time frame. And then around December, they're going to file for the special authorization to use. I think after Pfizer gives their information, they may go in late November, I think is what they said, to try to file for the special use term for the FDA. So they are on the horizon, but it's going to be way after elections, so it's not really going to help until, after the elections, which definitely is going to affect the market, and I think it's the second catalyst. The third catalyst, I think, is earnings season. So a lot of the companies, today Google had their earnings, and it wasn't as good. They had a 2% decrease in revenues year over year, and 0% increase in constant currency revenues year over year. So their earnings, is down compared to a year ago. So why is this a big deal? Google is one of the companies that makes up the top 500 companies. It's in like everyone's portfolio. It's in majority of your big portfolio or big ETFs. So, if it reports a bad earnings or a bad quarter, then, it kind of sets the precedence for a large portion of the market. But, it's still earnings season. There are other companies out there that are going to be giving earnings. But I think, for Google itself to have a bad earnings, it kind of sets the precedence for the rest of them that, maybe we're not done with this pandemic, or maybe we're not as good off in the country as we think we are. So I say definitely keep your eyes out on SPY and Dow, the Dow Jones and S&P 500. Make sure you look at both of those because it's definitely going to help, when trading. Usually when the market is down, all stocks go down. So, it doesn't matter if it's earnings or not, they still go down. So if the whole market is red, you can take it one of two ways. You could be like, okay, people are taking profits and I'm going to take profits. Or if you save money for a rainy day, it may be time for you to start investing large amounts of money into the market. So whatever your trading type is, good luck to everybody out there trading. Hope this video was able to help you, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.